What is up, twerkers, lurkers, and needless overworkers? Thanks for sitting down at the Messy Desk with me this week. Today, it's another edition of Man in Politically Provocative T-shirt talks at a camera for 10 minutes. Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. I know I look like a mess. We're all a little bit of a mess these days. Give me a fucking break. Okay, I'm wearing a shirt that has a mad Santa Claus decrying the existence of America, or the non-existence thereof. Clearly, this man is going through it. But if for some reason you look at me and you think, yeah, I'm going to take advice from that guy, then take a seat and fix your eyes upon me for the next 10 minutes while I talk to you about laziness and why laziness is sick and why you should be lazy and why you should stop working so gosh dang hard because it's really wearing you out. And I can see that in you. I can see the burnout happening. And I want you to just take a deep breath, chill with your dad, maybe crack open a little can of non-branded seltzer and just vibe with me, okay? And hear what I have to say. What do I have to say? What I have to say is I am supremely lazy when it comes to music making. I don't like to put in needless work, and emphasis goes on the word needless there. This whole topic springs from a question I get a lot in lessons and just kind of in other avenues, which is, should I make my own samples? Can I use other people's samples? Can I use splice samples?
Can I use splice samples? It's so gross and lazy. Can I use splice samples?
Do I make all my own patches? Etc. And I give the same answer every time. And that answer is, you can. You sure can do those things. And it's certainly not a problem if you do those things. And I think it can even be great if you find joy in making your own patches, in synthesizing your own samples, whatever. Do that. If that is where you find joy, do it. But please know that if you don't enjoy it, you shouldn't. And I'll tell you why. 9 out of 10 people aren't going to know that you did that. Think about what your goals are. You want to get your music to the most people. You want the most people to hear your music. That means getting your music to Joe Average. And Joe Average does not even know what a synthesizer is, maybe. Does not even know what it means to make a sample.
Well, it's a drum sound. I like the way the drum sound goes smack.
And that's fine. That's great. Because it gives you a ton of wiggle room to focus on kind of the macro stuff like song structure and melodic content and development and sound design in a much more broad sense than just, oh geez, if I don't make this snare, I'm a fraud. 9 out of 10 people aren't going to know that you made your own samples. And the 1 out of 10 people that do probably don't care that much. So be very sure you're doing it for yourself, because if you're not, if you're just miserably kind of churning through this process of,
oh gosh, I need a pad. Okay, let me start with a sine wave and put it through the filter, and I better make the attack go long, and I put a reverb on it, and oh no, it doesn't sound quite right. Let me put the envelope a little bit longer and the sustain lower. Okay, now it kind of sounds like just...
May I suggest the humble preset? Start from a preset starting point, and then you can adjust as needed. Have you tried this? Or if you're like, oh gosh, I put white noise through a filter and the envelope's really snappy, but the snare doesn't smack enough. Let me saturate it. May I suggest splicecom. Try splicecom. They got snares there. And guess what? They sound good. And you can spend 45 minutes synthesizing a snare if you want. And I bet it'll sound great. I bet it'll sound really, really sick and really hot and tight and fucking just so good, dude. And nobody else could have made that snare, and everyone's going to know that you made that snare. Or you go on splice.com. I'm just saying, okay? Look, don't attack me here. I am lazy. I'm lazy, and we know this. But it doesn't mean that I'm careless, okay? Do I think you should go to Splice and download a bunch of 4-bar loops that are all in the same key and same tempo and throw them into your DAW and say, I'm a songwriter? No, of course not. Don't take me in bad faith like that. Don't clip me out of context. But I am really sensitive to wasting my time. And for me, someone who's not particularly great at synthesizing percussion or, even generating drum loops in general, I love that I can just grab a loop, use it as a starting point, process it, slice it up the way I need to, and move on with my life. Because you know what? Maybe it is lazy. Maybe I'm cheating myself here. This can be a discussion we can have. Everyone can fucking destroy me in the comments. Say, dude, you're lazy. Your music's shitty. Everyone knows you're a fraud. Even your kids, they don't respect you. That's why they draw on the walls. Listen, maybe that's true. And if it is true, wow, I have to do some reflecting. But I don't think it is. I think most people, when they listen to my music, don't think about that at all. And I think most people, when they listen to music, don't think about that at all, because guess what? When I listen to music, I don't think about that. I don't think about, oh, gee, I wonder where they got this snare from. Wonder if that's their own sampler, if they got it from a Splice sample pack. Oh gosh, oh geez. I mean, look, you can tell when music is boring and uninspired. So I'm not saying make boring, uninspired music, but I'm saying give yourself a break. Give yourself some wiggle room here. Give yourself some credit, because you can take a loop, you can take a drum sample, and it doesn't mean just take it and be done. You got to do other stuff with it. And that speaks to my proclivities, right? I have the most fun processing sounds. I have the most fun resampling, making new things from already existing material. I hate starting from nothing. I've learned that about myself over the years of making music. And that's just what I've learned about me. But for you, you might fucking love making your own samples. And so the point of this video is not for me to say, how dare you, don't do that. It's to talk to the person like me who's sitting there trying to make a snare sample because they don't want to be labeled a fraud or something and losing their fucking mind. You don't have to. You don't have to. Just don't do it. Grab a sample, move on with your life. Especially if you're like me and you're like a dad who works and is tired. You just want to make music and feel good about your music and have fun. Then yeah. I think the larger point of this video, ultimately, is reining in ego a little bit, because I think music is a heavily egotistical pursuit. Just like any sort of art, you tend to wrap your worth up in it very quickly. And so when you make all your own sounds, when you make all your own samples, when you make all your own patches, wow, you're really good. You're really smart and you're really hardworking, and look how unique you are. You're a nice little snowflake in the positive way, not in the weird conservative obsessive way, and you're beautiful, and we all really appreciate you. But I think sometimes you need somebody like me to kind of crash through the wall, Kool-Aid Man style, and tell you, relax. You're perfect the way you are. You can borrow from other people, okay? This philosophy of you have to do everything yourself, take it to its logical conclusion. Oh, you're going to use that chord change that's been used before? Pfft. Oh, you're going to use a snare? Snares have been used before in songs? You're a fucking fraud, dude. Wow, you're using a piano. Beethoven already did that, so did you get that from Beethoven.com? It's fruitless. It's pointless. The only thing that should matter when you're making music is, are you having fun? Do you enjoy the end product? Is it getting you where you want to be? That's it. That's all that should matter. If any of those things aren't true, you need to step back, sit up and fix your posture, and reevaluate. And maybe this video can help you do that if you're like me and you spend way too much time fixating on this kind of thing. I don't know. This is the inner monologue I have screaming at the back of my head all day. So just imagine that. In some way, this might be an advertisement for splice.com. It's not, but Splice Daddy, if you want to sponsor me, what's up? How you doing? I have no principles, and I use your service quite a bit. So I'm just saying, I could save that $10 a month. You could have a really uncharismatic, fat, ugly dude extolling the virtues of your product. It sounds like a win-win to me. Just saying. I don't know what about this video has made me a just saying guy, but it's really turned me down that path, and I don't know how I feel about it. But regardless, look, let's conclude here, okay? Because this could go on forever. I don't want this to be a one-sided discussion, okay? I am not a priest proselytizing from a pulpit. Do they proselytize from pulpits? Is that what it is? I don't know. I'm not that guy, okay? I want to hear from you. I want to hear how you feel about this, how you felt about this, if your thoughts have changed at all on the subject. And then maybe we can make another video responding to some of those arguments, because I have a feeling someone's going to have a very good argument that's going to make me look like a dingus, which is partially why I'm uploading this, because sometimes when you get really ingrained in your opinions, it can be useful to throw your opinions out onto the internet where you can get, oh buddy, a whole range of opinions thrown back at you, and you can maybe reconsider. So yeah, do me a favor, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, comment below, please engage with my content, please push it to the algorithm, and say things like, Octodad, I agree with you. You're really hot, I love your shirt, and your camera is so in focus. Or you can comment and you could say, you need to shave, you need to work on making your music better, you need to stop being a lazy piece of shit, and maybe go take a jog or something, lay off on the pizza. You could say that to me too. It would really hurt my feelings and it would really keep me up at night, but that's the price of fame, baby. So you go ahead and you throw that bellwether around my neck, okay? I trust you and I believe in you. But please, if you do agree with me harder than the people who disagree with me, so I feel smart and good and I can feel like I can maintain my air of ethos, as it were. Okay? That's where I'm going to end it today. Be lazier. Give yourself a fucking break. Make sure your music is fun and inspiring and satisfying to you. Because at the end of the day, buddy, maybe 2 people are going to listen to your Bandcamp. And you're one of them. So if you're not happy with it, you really got to take a step back and reevaluate. Because we're not playing a fame game here. We're playing a game of how can we coax the serotonin from our brain. And I think the best way to do that is to make music that makes you the happiest and the most fulfilled every step of the way. And for me, that does not involve making my own patches, making my own samples, etc. For me, it involves processing, resampling, being lazy, you know? I don't know. What does it mean to you? What does anything mean? Why are we here? What is it all for? The world will surely end. It's a lot to take in. Just answer the first part, and we'll reconvene, and we can talk about it, and maybe grow as individuals. I think that sounds like a good plan. I want to thank you so much for watching. You could have sat down with anybody on the whole dang internet today, but instead you sat down with me. I can't say why you would sit down with a man whose hair is this greasy, who looks like this, who still needs to shave this inexcusable neckbeard. But you did, and that means a lot, and I'm really, really, really happy about it. So thank you for doing so. Don't know what I'd do without you. I will be back next week with a video that is not me just talking to a camera for 15 minutes. Maybe it'll be about music, and I'll tell you things like you should do this thing, but not this thing. And you'll say, wow, that was informative, and thank you for that. And I'll say, you're welcome. Give me money now. But anyway, until then, I'm Daniel. This is my messy desk, and I love you more than I love being incredibly lazy in all the best ways to make me as happy as possible. I'll see you next week. Peace.